Hello and welcome to Zero to Hero Show. I'm Annie Bennett, and on today's episode, we have another amazing lady who has a very successful business at just 27 years old. She has been an entrepreneur since she was like 13. Beauty is the kind of person who always plans things and is extremely well organized. But an unexpected event happened that nearly cost her business and, more importantly, her life. Beauty has so much to share with us, and I'm sure you'll be able to learn a lot from her. So let's hear it from Beauty. Hello, Beauty. Thank you so much for joining me today for another episode of Zero to Hero Show. I'm so happy that you're here with me today.
Hi, Annie. Thank you so much for having me.
I love it. Last time we spoke, and you have so much journey, so much story to share to me and to people all over the world. I love to hear it all, and also I love the fact you're only 27 and you have come so far. You're like, you're achieved so many stuff. So that's the reason why I want you to share. So, who is Beauty?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, our chat last time was so fun. I'm so excited to be back on your show and get to know you more a little bit as well as share a little bit more about myself. Well, like you mentioned, I'm 27 years old. I live on the island of Guam, and we're located in the Pacific. We're also known for being a strategic U.S. territory, so we have a lot of military bases here. And I'm a single mommy to two boys. Their ages 10 and 5. And I'm the founder of an events agency called Fund Forte. And there we plan fundraisers, custom parties, corporate events, and lots of other fun stuff. And we try to just make things easier for our clients by providing custom products and services that will best suit their event. And alongside that, I do have my toes in a bunch of different industries, as well as I hold different leadership titles within the community, both locally and online. And I'm also an ASSIST trainer, and ASSIST stands for Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training. So what I do with that is I teach people how to talk to others who are having thoughts of suicide, and we train them on how to be a little bit more confident and comfortable if they feel like anybody they come across might have suicidal ideation. So that's me in a little bit of a nutshell.
Oh my God, is that a little bit? Is that all?
Just a little bit. That's the current.
You're human. It's like, sound like, oh my God, you have done so many stuff. When did you have time to have time for yourself?
I sacrifice a lot of sleep, but I also make up with that with a lot of self-care and a lot of naps. And my friends used to like to tease me saying that my schedule was 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then again 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. And they weren't right. They weren't wrong. But now I don't use that schedule anymore. I definitely enjoy sleeping a full 6 to 8 hours, and my naps and my self-care. I am not at that level of burnout anymore, thank goodness.
Well, last time when you kind of when people like you, people that organize event, I got a sense and I got a feeling and the energy that you are well organized with yourself and your business and everything you're doing. Right?
Thank you. Yes, I definitely try to be as organized as possible. I'm way more organized for my clients than I am for myself, but I do try to make sure that in regard to timing or scheduling anything that I know is going to take up somebody else's time, that's definitely where I'm more organized. But if it's my own chaos, that's it. It's going to go wild and free.
Because last time when I was like, okay, when should we book our date? And you was like, oh, do you like to check my calendar? And you sent me the link, and thank you so much. See, I've been using that link. I've been using that calendar. It's so amazing.
Right? It's so fun.
Okay. Beauty, can you tell me the most toughest time in your life?
Oh man, there's been so much that I've gone through in my life, but one of the highlights that I can really that I really reflect on the most is when I felt like I wasn't enough for another person, and it ultimately questioned my own sense of self. This was around 2000, between the time frame of like 2015 up until 2018. That was a really intense ride of my roller coaster of life. Within that time frame, I endured my boyfriend of almost 10 years. He ended up having our house being raided due to drugs and theft and a whole bunch of chaos that I didn't even, realize was happening in my home. And what ended up happening after the raid took place was the SWAT team ended up taking him to prison. And there goes my life. Like, okay, what am I doing now? What's going on? It was in such a fast instance to have my best friend and my partner taken away from me. And there were times before that event where he ended up showcasing signs of, like drug use and all of that. So prior to that, we definitely tried to work things out as a family. Okay, let's try rehab. You want to get healthy, let's do that. But of course, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? And I didn't really understand that quote until somebody that I loved needed to take care of themselves and needed to recover from drug abuse. And I just saw how difficult it was to really plug it into their head, like, hey, you gotta get healthy or this relationship isn't gonna last long. So I ended up giving him an ultimatum in 2016, and in January of 2017, that's when we moved into our new house. And by April, he ended up not lasting in his recovery for about 4 months, so it took about 3 months for him to just relapse. And that's where everything just went downhill. My attitude, though, I was still so positive. I had to be, because of my children. They were looking up to me as a role model. And it was painful, very painful to feel like, my goodness, I'm not enough for you to change your ways. I've done so much for you. I've changed my body. I've left my parents' home. I've got us homes. I've got us cars. I've got you jobs. I've done as much as I possibly can to show you that I love you, and you really can't do what you can do in order to, show me that you love me the same way. And then that's where a lot of my breakthroughs started happening, because I was like, okay, you know what? This is what's happening. I'm going to focus on myself now. This is where I'm able to give everybody else so much love. What about me? What about beauty? So that finally started to come to realization. I was so thankful for that. And of course, I had to sacrifice the relationship that I had with the father of my kids. But it was so worth it, like, to give so much of your dedication and loyalty to one person, and then to not receive anything back. It was mind-blowing for me to see how much time and effort and energy that I put into one person and that I didn't put into myself. So after that, within 2017, things started getting better. I was able to pick up a lot more business and awards and recognition. And then towards the end of 2017, I met another man, and we ended up dating in December. And by January, we started to get a little bit more serious. By March, though, in 2018 was when I started to realize that something was off, only because he started staying at my house more frequently. Little fibs and white lies were starting to come about. He was getting very lazy, wasn't giving concrete evidence about certain things, like his job. He said he got fired from a job, and he never showed me like a termination letter, or he said that his friend had been borrowing his car, never showed me any car keys or paperwork or anything like that. And for me, I'm just such a nice person that I was so naive and in denial that I wasn't seeing all these signs coming together. Then I started to realize, like, okay, this guy is staying in my home and he's not even contributing anything. And I was like, wow, this is just another round of what I've been through in the past. And I brought it up to him like, hey, I'm going to give you 2 weeks to show me that you're really trying. And if you don't succeed by this time frame, which is a definitely great amount of time, you're going to have to move out. So of course, nothing happened within those 2 weeks to show me concrete evidence that he's actually trying to be a contributor to our family and our life. And I had to kick him out. And that was as a nice, kind person to kick someone out onto the streets. It was so painful, even though I know that this person wasn't contributing back to me and showing the same amount of love, care, and, time and energy. And then, oh my gosh, that person ended up attempting suicide twice. I literally had to cut him down from a clothesline wire and call the police for assistance. He ended up stalking me, breaking into the home, stealing our stuff. He would even stay there while we're out and about doing errands. And it was just so weird. And, it was so scary to be at the edge of my seat every single day, wondering if someone was going to come in and harass us or break in or break through, anything that I've tried to set up to try and catch him per se, right? Air quotes. And it got so irritating that I ended up filing a restraining order for him, for his safety, not mine. And the law office was like, Ms. Camacho, what can we do if you're not feeling like your life is in danger? There's really nothing we can do. And I was just like, you know what? This restraining order is for his safety, not mine. Because if he ends up coming back and irritating us, I'm going to go into full-on mama bear mode and protect my kids and myself. So this is one of the only ways to show him that I'm legally serious, and I don't want us to have to hurt each other in order for him to understand my boundaries. And oh my gosh, after that it just got even crazier. He ended up see how passionate I am telling the story is because he put us through so much more than the father of my kids did within such a short amount of time that I wasn't really able to process everything as fast as I could. And so he would use a spoofing app on his phone or a computer, and he would literally call my cell phone thousands of times a day. My phone would not stop ringing, and it would show contacts that are for example, let's say your name is listed in my phone, Miss Annie, right? And you wouldn't be calling me, but it would show on my phone that you're calling me. So I'd answer, of course, and I'll say, hey, hi, Annie, what's up? And then it's not you, it's him. And he's breathing on the other line, trying to talk or not even saying anything at all. And then he'll just hang up. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so irritating. So can you imagine, as a business owner, going through that process for over 8 months and really having to deny every phone call or even just turning off my phone? And I've lost thousands of dollars just because of that, just because of my phone. I was able to talk to on chatting or email. I was able to talk to clients like that. But a lot of my new leads, especially because my clientele's older, they're grandparents who want to hire us for their grandchildren's birthdays, or mommies who are probably 30 and older. They're trying to call me because they want to hear that there's a person on the line able to answer their questions. And I couldn't do that. So it was mind-blowing to see how sophisticated his stalking efforts were. Some of the people who I would go to get advice, they wouldn't even know what was going on. And these are the island's stalking experts. They're like, we don't know how to deal with this. Best thing to do is just turn your phone off and let it ring. And just because he is violating the restraining order, just go ahead and, there's really nothing you can do. There's no evidence you can show. So what I ended up doing was going into my cell phone provider and just printing out all the logs, thousands and thousands of calls, to show that I was being harassed and that this was an automated type of system. And that is just phase 3 of the entire stalking roller coaster. After that, he ended up I ended up seeing him on the road, and I saw that the marshals had an arrest warrant set out for him. So I called them up and I was like, hey, I see him. I'm going to follow him. And I want you guys to try and set something up so we can catch this guy, because it's so irritating. He's broken into my house multiple times already, stolen my food, frozen goods, like shampoos and clothes and all these other odd things. It shows like he's trying to survive on the streets, right? And what ended up happening was I followed him, and it took me like an hour to go knocking on everyone's door, like, hey, have you seen this person? You know, he's not necessarily dangerous. I don't think he's gonna hurt you, but he's harassed me, he's stalking me, and I just want to try and find out where he is, if you can help me. And that was an hour going around that area trying to find out if anyone was familiar with him. I finally found where he was staying at, and oh my gosh, I just cried so bad when the lady told me that she knows who he is. So what we ended up doing was we found out that he needed his phone charged, and we directed him to go to the store to charge his phone. And the marshals ended up coming through, and they were able to, you know, put a perimeter together in order for him to be apprehended. And it just went by so fast. And the most glorious thing, I feel so bad too, just seeing him getting tackled down and getting arrested. Like, even at that moment, I still felt so bad, you know, like as a person and someone I loved and cared for, to see that happen to you, you still feel bad, but it's also like a yes type of moment, like, oh my gosh, you know, finally. And then they arrested him, but it wasn't even for any of the charges that he violated me for. It was for a prior thing. So he was only in prison for like maybe 2 weeks or so. And that was the best 2 weeks of 2018. Oh my goodness. It was so serene. I was able to enjoy myself, right? And then he comes out. And what he does was the most dangerous thing that he did so far. Was he set up a Tinder account of myself, a fake one, of course, because he set it up. And he took as many pictures as he could find, posted it up on Tinder. And for those who don't know, Tinder is a dating app. And on that dating app, you can connect with people who look at your pictures, and if they're interested in you, your pictures and your bio, then they'll try to connect with you. So he was connecting with everybody and anybody. And then he'd chat with them for a little bit, like copy and paste the chat message, and then he'll give them my actual real number. So on the first night that happened, he ended up giving my number out to so many people that I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just like, whoa, what the heck is going on, right? And I was just like, oh my goodness, he's out again. What the hell, you know? So that was so frustrating to me. I was trying to figure out what was happening. I was talking to these gentlemen, and what made it dangerous is that some of them didn't believe me. They were like, you know what? You are such a bitch. Why are you even wasting my time? And these men were getting aggravated. So I would call them or message them and say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry that you're going through this. And then I copied and pasted an entire explanation of what was happening. And some of them blocked me, some of them deleted me. I was like, okay, it's fine, whatever. And then at the end of that message, I was like, if you're able to help me, can you please screenshot whatever messages you have or anything that can help me send a letter to Twitter or to a Tinder to take my profile down to show them that it's fake. I had almost 300 people assist me with trying to, you know, put together a case file. I sent it to Tinder, and they were like, sorry, we can take your profile down, but we can't, or we can take the fake profile down, but we can't tell you which number any of this activity is coming from. You need a subpoena, or you need the police to contact us. So I did. I talked to the police, and they didn't do anything. And I was like, you know what? This is so full of crap. Because if this was a situation where someone's life was in jeopardy, that person would be dead, or would have committed suicide, or would have just, you know, attempted suicide, even because of the stress level. And for me, like, my stress tolerance is very high. I'm able to stay calm and you know, assist with whatever I can, especially if it's for myself. And I mean, especially if it's for others. And it was just such a roller coaster of wackadoo experiences. I've never been stalked like in person in my life, but I have been stalked online before. So I tried to use some of those different tactics on how to save myself basically and save my time. So fast forward to 2019, he finally shows up in court. The judge the judge orders him to stop all his crap, and he still tried to call me and all of that, but I just logged it in for all my case filing, and I just never replied back to him. And yeah, that was just one of the strangest moments in my life. And like sometimes I'd question, like, man, why is all of this stuff happening for me? As an event planner, I love planning stuff, and none of these things were in my plans. So I always joke about that, like, why me? What am I doing? Am I tolerating it? Am I attracting these people? And for me, I'm a big believer in manifestation. So I'm like, yes, it's my responsibility. I know I'm tolerating it. I know I'm attracting it somehow, but what's the reason? Why, right? And little did I know, later on down the line, is that my entire experience was going to save women's lives and their time, for rather than them going through this experience for months and years, I was able to help them get out of those situations within weeks or days. So yeah, I'm very thankful.
Whoa. When you say that, when you found out about him, that where he lives and you make you cry,
Yes.
what was it about?
I cried because that individual, the lady who was talking to me, she was actually the sister of one of my former brother-in-law, and Guam is very small. So I was just like mind blown to see that there was a really close connection, and that someone was finally able to help me, apprehend him and make sure that he was gonna go down and not bother me and my family anymore. And it was just a cry of relief and exhaustion, because he had been doing that to us for months. So he started in May or June, and that only happened in like October or November.
Wow.
That scene where he ended up going to jail. And yeah, that was just such a cry. And like a lot of people would ask me, are you stressed out during the day while this whole thing would happen? I was like, no, I wasn't stressed out. I was just worried, because I wanted to make sure I didn't want to have to hurt anybody, because I've been to jail before. So I know how it is. If I end up defending myself, I'm going to end up going to jail again for a night because I tried to defend myself. And where are the other people involved in fighting or anything like that? So I just really worked so hard to keep my cool and not have to fight physically.
Yeah.
But it was such a journey, and to know that I was able to help another woman and another family, condense and cut down that time of stalking from months into days or weeks. It was just so relieving for me. And then I finally realized, like, that's why. Yeah.
I love it. Like, some people try to run away from their past, but you use your past to help others, to teach others. And you kind of keep this experience, and you kind of like, you take it at, now, like some people say, why play the victim? Like, yours was the victim, but you was like, no, why is happened to me? Why is happened to me? And then you found a reason why. I know why. And then you not just like let it try to run away or try to hide it. You kind of like use it and help the women. That is so powerful. All those tough times you've been telling me, that was so like, I'm not sure if it's happened to me, how I'm gonna handle that. How do you get through all that? You have any?
Yeah, I'm a really positive person. I love to laugh a lot. I found that laughing and just getting rest and making sure that things are set. Like, for example, during the time where in 2017, when my boys' father was getting taken away, I was able to just stick to my boundaries. Like, okay, you know what? No matter what happens, I am not going to let anything faze me until I see evidence, until I talk to someone face to face or in person. And, you know, I just didn't want to be, I didn't want to be someone flooded with rumors and have that affect my mind space. So what I did was I just continued to stay positive, talk to my friends and family, of course, talk to his friends and family, and talk to my kids, most importantly. Talking to them, having them understand what's going on in our life and what's happening to their father really made them aware of being able to become a better person. And just being a transparent parent was one of my main goals. I didn't want them to not understand what was happening and why their father's absent. They know he's in jail. And I also made them have the choice. I said, would you guys like to visit your dad or talk to him or anything like that? And they were fine with it. They love him, you know, and I'm so thankful that they do. But if it was my choice, I wouldn't let them go. But I want to empower them knowing that they have a choice to make with their relationships. And yeah, they're very brave for wanting to visit their dad and wanting to still talk to him. And I told him that he is just the luckiest person in the world, that they still care about him. So just having a positive mindset really helped me get through everything. Oh, and in regard to the stalking, just being prepared and not being phased or winded or pushed over by anything that really rooted me, basically made me stay strong, because I was during those months I was just so alert and so aware, you know, because we couldn't sleep at some nights only because we know that he might either come through or whatever the case may be. It was tough, but it was worth it to build that strength and endurance and not necessarily tolerate it, but to be prepared for anything, basically. And I had my phone with me charged at all times to make sure I could record anything. I had the police number on speed dial, the marshal's number on speed dial, everything that I was able to do to better equip me for any strike per se, definitely empowered me. And like I said, I love laughter. I love laughing. So spending time with my family and my friends really helped me a lot. Talking to people, talking to my coworkers at the time, because I was working at a recovery center for women, and talking to them professionally. They're actually counseling. You know, there's a bunch of counselors there. So getting counseling and therapy as an employee was definitely beneficial. And I absolutely loved it. And I'm so grateful for them, because that's actually one of their services, is like, if someone ends up getting stalked, then that's one of the reasons why I'm like, okay, why am I manifesting this? And you remember I was saying, like, yeah, it's intentional, because I'm actually at a service where people get served to do that. So I know I tolerated so much of it, and I could have done other things with more tact and strategically, but I don't like putting people in jail or in confinement or things like that. I give them the chance. Remember how I gave that 2-week period to try and make sure that you want to be a contributor to our family. Like, he didn't do anything, so I gave him a good enough chance, and to show that, and you know, like, even without him contributing anything, it still brought me back to those feelings of like, okay, I'm not enough again for another person to try and change their ways. Then after that, I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to try and change anybody, even though those are their goals. And that's the only reason why I support anybody's change, is because that's their goals. So I enforce it, and I remind them about it. Like, hey, are you still working on this? Are you still working on that? How's your progress with this so and so? And then the same reasons from my exes would come up, like, oh my gosh, you're so naggy, you're always bragging, you're always bothering me, why can't you let it die down? And it comes to the point again where I'm like, wait, I'm checking on you because you said you wanted to achieve certain things, not because I want you to change. It's because you said you wanted to change. So I'm trying to have some accountability here, right? And provide that accountability for you. So yeah, definitely staying positive, laughing a lot, eating good food. I did gain a lot of weight, and according to our studies too, like when you're in a stressful mode, especially for us women, we gain weight around our midriff and our belly area. So I was like, oh my goodness, no wonder why. And it was so challenging to lose weight during that entire time span. And now that my body and my mind is at peace, I'm able to get healthier. I'm aware of my eating habits, and it's just been so fun. So yeah, if anybody is in that type of situation, ask for help first of all. Read up on a lot of things that you can do to further protect yourself. Get counseling, get therapy, get law services, as much as you can to equip yourself for anything, to get out of that, and especially to make sure that you're in a safe place. So yeah, that's definitely what's made me pull through.
Wow. So stay positive and basically you kind of be prepared. Now I can't speak. What's going on? Like, be alert, be aware, not just. And yeah, I love the fact it's like stay positive, because yeah, that will get you through. Can you imagine if you all those stuff that happening and you just like, why you keep crying it's not gonna help.
Yes, it's not gonna get you anywhere.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not gonna get you anywhere, and you're gonna feel so sorry for yourself that it's gonna continue to dig a bigger hole for you. And the person who's trying to take advantage of you and manipulate you is gonna see that, and they're gonna use that to twist you in their little hands and make sure that you stay under wraps with them still. And like sometimes these types of things even happen in happy marriages, and some, the women or the man, whoever is being manipulated, they don't really see that that's what's happening. They don't understand it. So even though you're not being abused or stalked or things like that, there's a lot of ways to be able to recognize it. You just have to talk about your feelings, because if you're feeling any type of negative vibrations or negative emotions, something might be wrong, even if it looks like it's a happy marriage. And like for me, I always just definitely check in on any of my family or friends, and I'm just like, hey, just hoping everything's okay, and if you ever need help or if you ever need to talk to me, I'm here.
Wow. You know that the stalker guy, is he kind of like have kind of mental issue?
I actually asked him about that. I said, hey, I feel like you might have some behavior. This is way before I kicked him out of my house, because everybody has some behavioral issues. We all grew up certain ways. We all have stressors that can trigger us, or anything else that might be bothering us towards our health and our behavioral health. So I asked him, I said, hey, you know what, do you think you might need an assessment? Because we can go down and, you can get checked and see if you need any medication to stabilize your moods or your feelings or anything like that. Or you can just try some meditation or mindfulness tips. And he didn't want to do any of that. So I was just like, all right, red flag number, whatever, So I believe so. I believe he did.
Okay, so if anyone who have this kind of situation, stalker thingy, that guy might be kind of mental issue, right?
Maybe, yes, maybe. And sometimes other people don't, they're fully conscious and fully aware of what they're doing, and they're doing it with full intent. So, it really just depends. It depends on the person, and it's good to, it's like for me, if you're about to start dating, like my rule now is to make sure I ask for ID. Like, I'll show you my ID, you show me yours, because this man ended up not even being the same age that he was when he told me he was, I think, a year or two older than what he actually was on his ID card. And he was like, oh no, that's a typo, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, you know what, you are just full of it already. So yep, I just make sure to ask for ID and ask for, like, hey, who are your friends here? Could I meet them before anything gets serious? And thankfully right now I'm not dating. I have too much going on to try to make sure to put any energy towards somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, it's just so much.
Right, I know. And it's so funny because I actually just saw a photo my friend shared on Facebook. The picture said something like, you don't know how much you've been through until you actually talk to another person about all the things that somebody's done to you. Yeah. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is how other people feel about when I explain my story. It's just an overwhelming mix of emotions when you read through all the stuff that I've been through. And I understand that now, because I thought it was just normal, like in the beginning, way before any of the jail time or the drug use that I was aware of started happening with my boys' father. I didn't talk to anybody about anything from like 2010 until 2015. I didn't talk to anyone because I felt like they wouldn't know how to help me.
Wow.
So I endured so much as well within 2010 to 2015, and that was without any help and just not doing anything about the toxic situation that I was in, because I felt like I loved my partner.
So is it true though that what they say, if you get the right guy, the right partner, it's like you win a lottery? So this is I listen to your story, it's kind of like, yeah, when you get the wrong guy, it can bring you to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like your business you lost thousands of profit dollars from your business, 8 months, and all those things that he did to you. That was wow. Yeah. So girls, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you get to the right person.
Right, exactly. And now I'm just so much more careful with my time and my energy. And like I said, I'm going to be way more serious about interviewing my potential suitor.
Okay, so Beauty, do you have any beliefs?
Yes, I was actually raised up Catholic, so I definitely still respect my Catholic religion, but I'm not necessarily like a big follower per se. I still respect it because that's what my grandma loved, my grandparents, my parents, they love their Catholic religion. So I still definitely respect all of our traditions.
Yeah.
I still go to church and, so I love the fact that religions and ways of life help people. But for me, I'm more into studying universal law.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing so for about 14 years. And that is what's guided me more than anything else, is just understanding that, there's certain things that happen for certain reasons, and just stay positive, feel good, and life will be great. So things, like whenever anything happens to me, I'm always just like, okay, live, laugh, learn, life goes on, right? And things that make me continue to do the things that I do is, I like to say, dream, believe, do, repeat, and then dream, believe, do, repeat. So it's something that I love to just simplify and just continue to bring about with everything that I do. But yeah, I love law of attraction. I love manifestation. I feel like there's a lot of high vibes. I've also had a lot of paranormal activity happen to me when I was a kid. So being raised Catholic and seeing other things happening to me that couldn't be explained by the church or by science or by anybody else besides like an uncle of mine who was like a psychic, that was mind-blowing for me, because there was this one instance where I met him
Yeah.
Out of the blue. I've never met this person before, and I was probably like 6 years old or 7. And out of the entire crowd, he like stops everybody from talking and he points at me and he goes, "Who's that and what's her birthday?" And I was just like, what's going on?
Okay. What was
right? And what he said was, "Your daughter sees different things that normal people don't see." And I didn't tell anybody about my little visions at all. So hearing that from him was like, what the freak is going on?
You give me goosebumps.
And yeah, I still get goosebumps. See, I'm getting like, yeah. So
what did you see?
Like for me, my visions as a child, they were always just gray, blurry visions of people that weren't actually in the room. And it's not necessarily like a ghost or like a spirit or anything like that. It was like a projection, pretty much. It didn't scare me. It didn't feel like it was bad energy, nothing like that. It wasn't scary for me. And I guess that's just me being not scared of things, but seeing, because I would try to tell people like, "Hey, do you see so and so?" And they'll be like, "What the heck are you talking about? There's nothing there." That's when I started getting the vibe like, okay, this is not normal, and other people can't see these things. So having a high tune with I guess like cosmic energy, it really shaped my life.
Can you tell me the figure? What, like human or what?
Yes, it would be human and animals.
Oh, but it's in gray. It's kind of like clear.
It's in gray, I can see the figure like let's explain it like it's a shadow. Like they look like shadows, and yeah, it was just so interesting to me. My visions kind of stopped around 12 years old, and then after that nothing really happened. But oh my gosh, yeah, it would be, I was really considered like the black sheep of the family, like the weirdo kid, like she's always talking about all these weird stuff. So I kind of used all of that negative energy to just continue to build me up and help people who were having similar things happen to them. And it also just made me more open-minded and more aware and more respectful of other people's perspectives, because I know how it feels to not be believed. I know how it feels to not be loved or to be looked at like I'm weird, even though I couldn't explain it myself. And then it was just so interesting to have my uncle, who was that man was like considered a psychic in I forgot where he worked from, but I was so young, all I know was that that's what he was and that's what he does. And for a random person to call out one of my abilities that I've never told anybody, it was just so relieving. Actually, it was relieving, but it was also scary. Like that was more scary than actually seeing what I saw.
When someone's like, "Yeah, you have special power."
Yeah, and I didn't think of it like a special power, because it's not like I can lift pencils or anything like that. It's just, I feel like things were able to vibrate off me and through me, basically.
But communicate with you, can they?
No.
It's kind of you but you know what, because some people, they can communicate, some people
right
probably can see, but some people, they be able to communicate. Wow.
Right. And that's always interests me, and there are some people who kind of like fake that type of ability.
Fake?
But how sometimes they research their clients before they come into their office, and they kind of understand what they've been through, and they make it seem like they're reading their mind or they're reading their past. But I have tried to see if I have the ability to communicate with anything, but nothing really would come through. No, there would be some feelings that I could feel, and I would tell people how those feelings felt, but never like words or ideas or messages or sentences or anything like that. No, not at all.
I don't think they will be word. It's more like energy. Like Esther Hicks, that she's actually communicate with Abraham.
Which one?
You know Esther Hicks, right?
Esther Hicks. That name sounds definitely familiar.
Well,
Go ahead, you can explain the story.
if you are about law of attraction, you have to know him. Her. You have to know Abraham East Esther Hicks.
No, who is that?
Keep going on YouTube and finish this, yeah?
Okay, yes, I've got homework.
To listen to Ask and It Is Given. So,
Okay, yes, I'm familiar with that. Like, honestly, I'm super bad with names, but I remember a lot of ideas and I remember programs.
so number one of the law of attraction. She probably one of the first one ever. And basically she got to communicate with Abraham. Abraham is her guardian angels or angel guardian, something like we all have
Like a spirit guide, her spirit guide.
That's it. And then
Cool.
to communicate with her, and then she's been teaching us about law of attraction. I think she's the first one teaching us about law of attraction.
Wow. Okay, I need to definitely study her more. Like, I'm more of Rhonda Byrnes and Sarah Prout, and I like to go back into the people who have started things and then go into the modern age of how I can apply that to my modern life as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know.
Wow, she's amazing. I'm sure you know her. You probably just don't recognize the name. No.
Yes.
You say about law of attraction, you have to know Abraham Esther Hicks, Jerry Hicks.
Yes.
Okay. You know what? Last time when we spoke, Beauty, and the one word that I heard and I never heard it before, and I would love you to explain because
Sure.
I think it's really useful for some people. You know, when you talk about the business idea and a passion project,
Okay.
I never heard this before, so that was the first time ever, and I would love you to explain because I think so many people will relate to that. So if you can tell me the difference between a business idea and a passion project.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so one of the things that I do in my event planning business is fundraisers, right? So with my fundraisers, I also provide consultations to my clients about how they can spread their messages and market themselves. And before doing any of that, I try to make sure they understand what their idea is, whether their idea is a business idea or whether their idea is a passion project. Because if their business idea is actually a business idea, they can use that business idea and test it and make money from it, and they will gain a profit. But if their idea is a passion project, they are going to need funding, they are going to need support, human resources, and other types of collaborations rather than just money. So that's basically the difference between that. Because you can have a passion project and try to raise money with it, but you're going to need a lot more help than versus if it was a business idea. Because a business idea, you can definitely test it on the market, get market research, and put it on the market and make sure that people try out your product or your service. But versus a passion project, you can't really say, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and give out 1,000 bracelets for everybody and this is what you're gonna use to manifest from. You can't do that, because unless you have the funding to support that. Right? So I try to make sure they understand and are able to differentiate what their ideas are. But there is a thing, I actually saw something on your Instagram where people use their passions to fuel their business. So that's where the two merge, right? Where you create a successful business model and then you use the profits and the funds from that to fund your passion project, and you can merge them together. So that's when it starts becoming a well-oiled machine, and you're able to have a business but also have a passion project on the side that is continuing and furthering your mission, because your business will serve a client, your passion project will serve a community.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That is, yeah, that was, you see, something that I never heard of before. I was like, okay, so I need to know now then my business, is this a passion project or is this like a business idea? But I want to tell you a little bit about like what I created before. So 2017, right, when I was know about Female Entrepreneur Association, so I was like, ooh, okay, I can do this for my Thai people. So I like, you know, have my Gmail like Thai entrepreneur. First it was like organization. So I have my Gmail as a Thai something, you know. 3 years later, I didn't do anything until now. I'm a founder of Thai Entrepreneur Association. But before that, go back before when I first joined, you still there, yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
So I have to do my business plan, like a branding book. So like a workbook I have to fill in about clarity. I have to answer like what you see yourselves in, see your business in next 5 years, blah blah. I have no clue. I was like, oh, I was like, and then who you serve, all those kind of questions. What's your mission? What's your vision? All those kind of things. I'm kind of stuck. That was like, I think it was in April. But now I can answer. Now when I launched and when I found the Thai Entrepreneur Association, I be able to answer everything so clear. Like I can see in next 5 years if my business successful, what it's going to be like. I know I'm going to have like 10,000 members from all over the world. I'm going to have a retreat every year. I'm going to have over 100 products on my website. You know, it's more clear, everything. I was like, and when you tell me about it, it's like, I don't think I'm a passion project. I think I'm a business idea. And
yes,
officially it's going to be launched and people can test. And I don't have to spend any money, so that I can test the market if they like it or not. So what you just say to me, thank you so much. You just confirm mine is a business.
Yes, that is definitely a business. So see how you were able to just gain so much clarity from that, right? It's so relieving and refreshing and energizing, and you're like, yes, this is a business idea. This is going to make money. It's going to make profit. And what you use with the profits, other than, you know, sustaining your life and enjoying your life, use that to fuel and fund a lot of your other ideas, whether they're fueled by passion or not. You know, it's a continuous cycle. Like I said, they can definitely merge, but they should merge at the right time, because if you do not merge them at the right time, you're going to either burn out with business or you're going to burn out with your passion project. And that's what I try to make sure my clients understand, is because in my fundraiser division, many of them are the founders of nonprofit organizations, and they don't necessarily think about the business side and how they're going to keep their office roof over their head. They're only focused on their mission and helping people, let's say, you know, animals or drug recovery or feeding the homeless or shelters. They're focused on their mission. Yeah. So that's what we want them to do, and that's what my company allows them to do.
Wow. Right. Okay. Can you give me your 3 tips for success?
Sure. I'm so excited because every time somebody kind of gives me that question, I just get so like overwhelmed with joy, because I want to be able to make sure people understand it, you know. And like for me, I started studying business when I was a sophomore in high school. So I was only about 13, 14, something around that age, right? And here I am, this spunky little kid wanting to know everything, thinking I know everything as well. One of the first things I learned in business was to just get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because people are going to make sure that they, you know, they're going to want to drill you. They're going to want to make sure you know certain things. And if you don't, it's okay. Just tell people like, hey, I'm not educated on that enough to have an opinion about it yet. And that's what I think people should try and understand. First of all, is to, you know, understand that there's so much room to grow, and that we can learn anything from anyone. And that's actually like my second tip, is be open to learning something from everybody. Everybody in that you come across in your life or cross path with in your life is going to be able to teach you something, even if you don't realize it then and there. Like I said, even through all the hardships and the things that I've been through, I was able to learn something from all of that, from everybody, even if it was bad and toxic and unhealthy. It was definitely something to learn, because I was able to apply that and help other people with it. And then I think the third would be that, like, let's say if you don't have a positive mental attitude, then I would highly suggest that you try to develop one. Because when you focus on, like let's say you're having a hard time developing a positive mental attitude, and we'll shorten that to PMA, right?
Yeah.
If you can't do that, then I would try to start with gratitude. Just be thankful for your breath, thankful for your body, thankful for your surroundings, thankful for your sight. Basic little things that you know that you have right now. Just be thankful for it, and you'll start to develop that positive mental attitude, because with gratitude, it just heightens everything and it skyrockets all of your success. So I definitely feel like within every interaction, those three things are like key. Those are my core as well. I'd also like to tell people to try and just be prepared for any opportunities that come through them, because once they are okay with being uncomfortable, once they're open to learning, once they have a positive mental attitude, there's going to be so many opportunities. You're going to like freak out, like, where the heck are all these things coming from? And a lot of them are actually challenges, right? But they're disguised as opportunities. So there's always a way to make things better in life.
Wow, yeah, that is so. When you say like trying to be comfortable with uncomfortable, it kind of like get out of your comfort zone, that kind of thing.
Yes, definitely, because that's the only way that we grow. And one of my favorite visualizations is you're aware of the metamorphosis of a butterfly, right?
Yeah.
So the butterfly becomes a caterpillar, and then, or the butterfly lays eggs, it becomes a caterpillar, goes into its chrysalis, right? But one of the most important stages for the butterfly is when it struggles to get out of its cocoon. And that's because when it struggles, that's considered the most painful part for the butterfly, is squeezing itself out of the tiny hole to get its body out with its newly formed wings, right? All of that is pushing the fluid to pump in through the butterfly's body. So that tiny painful hole that the butterfly is going through, it's excruciating, but they've already done all the change internally in their chrysalis. That part is one of the most excruciating parts for the butterfly, because that's where all the fluids are pumped through the body. And that's when the butterfly is able to, like, flap its wings and adjust to its new self. So that's why I'm just so big on making sure you're out of your comfort zone, because if the butterfly doesn't do that, it will die. It will die. So like, let's say a zoologist or a zookeeper opens up the cocoon and they try to help the butterfly out, it's not going to happen. They're going to end up dying.
Wow. So basically, the butterfly need to get out. They need to stay strong and help themselves.
Yes. They need to help themselves. Exactly.
So
exactly.
Us, if we want to be successful in beauty in future, you need to get out of your comfort zone.
Yes. And that's actually what I'm going through right now. Up level time.
Well done, though. I'm sure you'll be able. And the second one, you were saying you learn from everything, every situation, and every.
Yes.
You're open. I love this. And stay positive. Yes, I so totally agree, because I used to be a really negative person, and that's my shift.
Same. Me too. I was such such a bully. I was a little bully when I was younger, and then I finally made the decision when I was like around 10 years old. I was like, I cannot be this negative person anymore. I don't like being mean. I don't like other people being mean to other people. I am not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to be a bully. I don't need to tease people to feel good about myself. And that's when I started to really like work on myself and learning about self-development. And I was a nice girl. I was kind. I was helpful. I was still able to help my family and friends. But whenever I was attacked or whenever I was hurt, I'd still use, that negative vibe on trying to defend myself, basically.
Right. So I know, like, when last time we spoke, you told me like you've been manifest stuff, like different things. I would love to hear that. Can you share some manifestation experience?
Sure. Okay. So, oh my gosh, I love talking about this too. It's because manifesting came quite easily for me. Not necessarily like I felt like I was magic, but there would be things that I would think about and we would go and do it as little kids. Like, let's say I'll be like, man, I really am craving some ice cream right now. Then my parents would like totally bring us to the store and we'll go get ice cream. So simple things like that is where it started. Then in 2010, I saw like a flyer on our high school counselor's office, or like in the hallway or something, and it said $10,000 scholarship, apply now, enter so and so, and it had all the details. And for some reason I stayed in front of that poster and I was just like, this is my prize. I know I'm gonna win this. So what I did to test out the law of attraction and the manifestation theory was I did my research and I came across a picture of the former winner, and what I did was I took that picture and then I put my face on her face, and I was like, yes, this is what's gonna happen. So I kept that graphic on my computer, and it was just something that I just looked at every day, every time I worked on the contest and my entry, because we had to write an essay. And I did all the research. I was strategic about reading the past entries and seeing what made them winners and seeing what made the people who were last place. Yeah. So I studied it as best as I could, and I studied the system and I understood the system. I even went as far as to trying to find out who my judges would be, because I wanted to understand their thought process and the things that they liked or the things that they were recognized for, and I wanted to mirror that. And mind you, in 2010, I was super pregnant with my first child, and I was a senior in high school, and I was the student body president. So I was super busy, and I still, I'm not too sure what that was, but I still made it a point to manifest this prize, because $10,000 as a teen mom was definitely going to help.
Wow.
And I knew that it was going to be mine. So I get the email, or I submit my essay. It was a 66-page essay on the topic of spam, and the spam is a canned meat. So it's like potted meat. I'm not too sure what I can do to give you an example, but it's basically made out of shoulder pork and ham, so ham products or pork products, and it is canned with different flavorings, and that's just one of my favorite things to eat here. It's really big on the island of Guam. And I just had so much fun with this essay. I did my best to put all my effort into it. Then I get the email that I was a finalist, and then I got I was able to share my essay, and I had to put a PowerPoint presentation together. So what I did was I even had like little samples of spam, and I put it all around, and I was giving my presentation. It was super short and quick and super cute. And then they invited all the finalists to dinner, and then they presented the check to me, and here I am, like little pregnant lady, like I was holding the check in the front, so you couldn't even see that I was pregnant in the back, but it was still so worth it. Like I said, even the pregnancy, I did not plan that at all, of course, but I still stuck through it, and I was so proud of myself to be able to manifest that check and that picture and just everything about it. So that was one of my earliest trials of making sure that manifestation worked for me. And of course, you know, some people are like, oh, law of attraction is just like a bunch of BS. And so I understand why they feel about that, but you also have to put so much work and energy into making those opportunities work for you. And now what I'm definitely trying to do is just be more consistent with you know, like my planning and my action. So I'm taking better action more consistently with higher magnetized intention, you know, like I'm just like, okay, I am so going to do this. This is what's going to happen. This is for me. This is what I deserve. I am enough, right? Then one of my favorite manifestation stories was actually for an award. I made myself a 5-year goal to receive a certain title of the Small Business Association's home-based business champion. And this was a 5-year goal that I didn't tell anybody about. Then 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from one of my mentors who I haven't even really spoke to in a long time. And she goes, hey, Buttes, I nominated you for a certain award. And I'm just like, okay, cool. And she's like, yeah, you have to fill it out and here's some paperwork. So I pulled up the email and I just start crying because it's for the award that I wanted for 5 years. 5 years in the future, right? So I fill out the paperwork and I'm just so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many other amazing home-based entrepreneurs. I feel like I'm not going to win, but I'm going to go ahead and send it in anyway. Yeah. Then like a month later, or like maybe 3 or 4 weeks later, she calls me and I'm driving and she's like, hey, just letting you know you won. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I started crying. I had to pull over in my car. And I just told her, I said, you know what? I didn't tell you in the beginning, but this was a 5-year goal of mine. And to make it within 5 weeks or less, just blew my mind without telling anybody. Like, how the heck does that happen, you know? So that's one of my favorite manifestation stories. I've manifested a lot of other things, money to cover my debts. I think currently I've paid off over close to 30-something thousand in debt by myself, you know, because my boys' father left us. So I had a lot of things that we needed to pay for as a family. And oh my gosh, it was just, you know, manifesting money, manifesting all these opportunities, beautiful encounters like this to meet and talk to you. I've just been so thankful for everything. And I feel like being able to put myself first and take care of myself first was one of the things in the slingshot of success that really, you know, pulled it back and made me go so fast. So I love being able to test my manifestation powers.
To get back on my magic now, I used to manifesting. Well, I'm sure lots of people want to hear about how you manifest money. Can you give us some tips? How do you do that?
Sure. My experience with money wasn't always a good one. So being the eldest child and the eldest grandchild, I didn't necessarily see my family struggle to make money, but I knew that it was something that would take time away from a family. Like if you had to work for money, I wouldn't be able to spend time with you. So for me, I didn't like to ask my family and friends for money. If I received it, then I felt so good. I felt so great. I'd save it for something that I'd love to use it for, like art supplies or things like that. So when I started to get into that feeling of lack when I was pregnant and when my boys' father was like stealing from me and using it for drugs and all of these horrible negative things, that type of mindset made it so hard for me. I felt like we were going to be in that cycle for eternity. now that I'm able to focus on all my abundance and just being thankful and showing so much gratitude and having a good relationship with money, value through that, I was able to just value my time and my energy and knowing that money will still come. That's how I really like mended my relationship with money and was able to manifest so much, thinking like, okay, this is going to get me to the next step. I'm going to be able to utilize this money to invest in myself further. So knowing that I was using it to take care of myself rather than feeling bad for buying a pair of shoes, knowing that I was going to be able to invest in myself and my image and my confidence definitely helped me, you know, be better and have a better relationship with money. So that's how I did it. And
I want you to explain and describe more about the good relationship with money, because when so many say, oh, have a good relationship with money, good relationship, but how exactly to do that?
You have to find out first why you feel like you have a negative ideation about money. So see how I just mentioned that in my childhood, when I would think about money, I would think about work. And when I would think about work, it meant that my parents or my family members were not going to be able to spend time with me. Right? And that meant that if I don't have to ask for money, I felt like if I don't ask for money or if I am not a burden, they are going to spend more time with me. So that was one of my money issues. Was thinking that money equals less time with a loved one. And from there, what I was able to do was I worked from home. I made sure I saved up. I made sure my kids are aware of how to handle money and how to save it for things that they love and that they enjoy and that they can always ask me for anything. And I will explain to them, of course, if there was a certain reason why they couldn't have something or that we needed to plan for it. So it was not necessarily, I had to practice saying no to them because I didn't want to imprint negative money relationships on them as well. So that's kind of an example, is just understanding where did it start at that I started to have a bad taste in my mouth when I said the word money. And another thing for me too was because I'm so focused on fundraisers is that my clientele come from a place of lack where they need funds to be raised. But what I try to make them understand is that the social currency that they hold is way more valuable than anything that money can provide. And once they continue to work on their mission and serve their communities, the money will come and flow through, whether it be grants, whether it be business opportunities, donations, successful fundraisers, anything. They just have to get that out of their head that they are a nonprofit and that they can't make any money and that they don't deserve money. They need to get it out of their head that they are worth it, that they are valuable, and that they are needed within the community. So that's something that you can apply to yourself as an individual as well. And that's what I do for myself too.
Good. Well, you know, in the past, I used to tell my kids, oh, don't play with money. Money's dirty. Go wash your hand. Money's dirty. And then I feel like those moments and those times, always have no money, you know?
I see. Yes. Yeah, that's a good point.
When I change to like, oh, money, you're my best friend. I love you. Oh, I love you. Oh my God. Money just dropped. So.
Right. Yeah, same thing.
Everything is energy, money is energy. So everything, I so do believe in that. Wow, thank you so much. That was really, really good tips. I'm gonna use that.
Thank you too.
Okay, so Beauty, what would you say to your 15-year-old self?
Oh my gosh, my 15-year-old self. Man, I was such a crazy girl. Honestly, I love my life. And if I were to talk to her again, I would probably just tell her, like, you know, just keep keep doing you,
Mm-hmm.
but be more observant.
Yeah.
Be more observant of people's energies and don't dismiss it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even tell her to change anything, because I wouldn't be who I am without all of those struggles and trials that I've been through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would probably just, give her a hug and be like, you go, girl.
Wow.
I was a very busy 15-year-old. I was already planning all my business, or I had a business plan already, and I was
Wow.
planning a lot of events for school, student leadership, all those kinds of things.
I think you were like you sound like you were a kidspreneur when you were like 30
Yeah.
years. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so what project are you working on right now, Beauty?
Oh my gosh. So through all of that drama, I'm writing a book.
What?
Yeah, thank you. I get nervous talking about it, because this is something that I've been having an idea for the longest time, was to talk about my experience ever since I, experienced my the father of my son, through all those things that he put me through. And then for some reason, I just would put that idea down and not even work on it.
Yeah.
And then now I know why, is because I really had to wait until this point in time where I'm more conscious and more aware of everything and more mature, and be able to share my story, especially the stalking story, and just to show people that they need to be more aware of their relationships, as well as if they feel like they're that toxic person, that there's also help for them too.
Wow.
We don't want to dismiss, like, I don't want to share this book and be like, oh, I'm not going to act like I was some perfect person, because I wasn't. I definitely had my toxic times.
Yeah.
But I know how hard it can be. I know how difficult it can be. I'm like the type of person who always brings up injustice that's happening like right in front of me, or I know that I'm someone who is definitely rambunctious in that sort of sense, where I'm going to make sure that whatever's happening that's bad, like if I see an altercation right in front of me, I'll be like, yo, you guys need to mediate this out, chill, relax, and make sure nobody hurts each other. And I try to make sure that there's safe space in all of that. So I just see, I'm even getting off track with the question. It's about our projects. I just really want to share that story and make sure that people are aware that there's help out there, and what was so crazy too is I saw another I think it was a photo on Instagram saying something, it was from the Female Entrepreneur Association. It was on Instagram, and it said something like, it was a quote, sorry, let me see if I can pull it up, because I want to make sure I quote this properly.
Yeah.
It was about writing your story or something. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I really do want to make sure I quote it properly. Okay, there you go. It says, one day you will tell your story of how you overcame what you went through, and it will be someone else's survival guide, by Brene Brown. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I started crying, and I just messaged the ladies on the FEA. I'm like, you guys don't know how powerful it was for me to see this right now.
Yeah, that's true. When you tell me about your book, I see straight away that you will be able to help so many women who, like in the toxic, or even the guy who being that he not aware of himself, like that's
right.
True. So
right, like I said, sometimes they're not even aware of it. They're not even aware that they're being a toxic person, and they're basically really just trying to survive. Yeah. I feel like that person found comfort in my ability to provide a home and a car and everything for him, but I felt like I was his mama, and I was not his mama, so that had to be terminated.
What's your book that you're working on right now? Anything else?
Yes, because of COVID, of course, I'm transitioning so many of our projects and our services online. I did try to do some printables and a podcast and a blog, and I did have to stop that due to a family member passing away. But I need to kick myself in the butt again and make sure that I get back on it, because I'm so excited to share more of my knowledge and my expertise to people who have the time to, help themselves.
Yeah.
and that's actually a bunch of free content.
Mm.
So that's on our website. It's www.fundforte.com. And there's like a members area, there's a blog, podcast, our YouTube channel, all that fun stuff, accessible for free. And the book I'm planning to release the book on my birthday, and that's September 30th. And it's just more of a gift to myself, like, okay, girl, good job, pat on the back. Time for healing and abundance, even more healing and abundance.
Can you tell the name of the website again, please?
Sure. www.fundforte.com. That's FUNDFORTE.com.
And all the free stuff that they will get, what is this about? It's all about your business, your project?
Yes, it's free content for them to be able to understand how to plan fundraisers more effectively. We don't really have event planning material on the website, but I'm planning to release some of that, because a lot of people are like, Beauty, we need to clone you. I need to make sure that you're here and here and here. And I don't have any cloning services at the moment, so I would like to make sure that I pick my own brain and I put that on paper so people can understand how I do my methods and how I service my customers, and that way they can do it too.
And that is be able to benefit everyone from all over the world.
Aw, thank you. Hopefully, yes. I envision that too.
No, I mean the stuff that I'm asking you, is it like for everyone around the world?
Yes. Yes, it can be applied to anyone, anywhere in the world. And within, like for example, one of our printables that we sell, the guidance there also says, make sure you please follow the laws accordingly to wherever you are on this planet, because we want to make sure that you succeed and that you don't end up having to, pay back tenfold of what you've made. Because if we don't follow the laws are there to help try and protect us, so we need to follow them as best as we can. But yes, they're designed to help mostly anybody.
Wow, great. So, okay, Beauty, what is your favorite quote? Don't tell me that was the one that you just tell me earlier.
Oh no, that was just a great quote. Man, there's so many. One of them that I love, shucks, I don't even see, like, that's how bad I am with some names, is about leadership, where they say the best quality about leaders is to not produce followers, but to produce more leaders. And that's one of my favorites.
Oh, okay. So we, instead of just trying to get people follow you, make them become the leaders. That's
right. It was just so powerful for me. That was my quote for my high school yearbook.
Oh, that was nice. Okay, now last question, Beauty.
Sure.
What do you have for audience?
Oh my gosh. So one of the key takeaways is to really just try to do your best, guys. I know sometimes we struggle, right, with all the things that we envision and the ideas that we have. And in relevance to Annie's podcast, Zero to Hero, if you have an idea for a passion project or a business, I definitely recommend that you continue to stick to it and really just act on it. Take constant action with magnetized intention, because if you don't, you're going to live with all that regret and be like, dang it, I should have just started that ever since. And even if it's imperfect, just keep going, just apply what you know already, and you can learn so much along the way, as long as you follow those 3 tips too that I mentioned, where it's just be comfortable with being uncomfortable, be aware that you can learn from everybody else. And the third one was, I don't even remember, it was positive mental attitude. Sorry, it's just so natural to me that I'm trying not to go off topic here, but if you haven't developed a positive mental attitude, then try and start with gratitude. I know it's difficult, but Miss Annie's mentioned, and like how I've mentioned, we have both shifted our mindset and gotten out of that negative train of thought, and you can do it too.
Yeah. Wow, that is, oh my God, this is the longest podcast I have on the show, but it was so worth every minute, every second that have you on the show. It's just so amazing. I love to hear all your journey, even though it's, when you listen to it, it's quite hard to observe because it was so, you know what, like how could this little girl can go through all that but still be so positive?
Right.
And the way you deliver as well, you know, like show the, like, you know, I'm a victim, you still show that even though whatever happened, I'm still laugh positive, that people need to learn this because it helped you so much. I know it's help, and it's just so much. And you're so young, you have your own business, you have kids running around, because I have seen so many people that when they have their business and they stop because they say, oh, I have kids now, I can't do anything now, I have to keep my kids or 100%, and then you just drop your dream. But if you can balance it, or what you want your kids to be grown up, and then you still have to, you know, so, but you kind of
right.
You kind of like, hey, I'm look at me, I'm still have you and have my businesses at the same time. That is amazing. I love that. I love everything about you, about your story and everything. So thank you so much. I enjoy.
Thank you so much.
You every minute, every second. I love it, and it's so much energy. And every time when you talk about your woo-woo stuff, energy stuff, make me all like goosebumps, and
I still get goosebumps. Even for myself, I'm the one talking about it for myself, and I still get goosebumps.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for coming to the show, Beauty, and I love it. Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to just learn from you and listen to you as well. Like I said, there's always something to learn from everybody, and I'm just so thankful to be on your show and be able to share my experiences. And people can definitely try and reach me at the website too if they have any questions.
Wow, amazing. And maybe one day we'll welcome you back again soon. So thank you for today. Bye now, Beauty.
Thank you. Bye. I look forward to coming back.